Marie hummed along to the upbeat tunes on the radio, expertly flipping a juicy burger on the sizzling grill, the aroma filling the air. She glanced up, spotting her coworker.
"Hey, you want anything from the vending machine? I'm grabbing a cold soda." Marie smiled and shook her head, focusing back on the grill.
Marie would blush and try to hide her embarrassment, but deep down, a part of her loved the attention.
Don was clearly smitten with her, and his affections made her feel special. She often found herself daydreaming about him.
A charm bracelet with a tiny burger and fries charm. A bit on the nose, Marie thought, but she wore it anyway.
"A friend who buys you diamond earrings? That's a bit much, isn't it?" Sarah would retort, her tone laced with amusement. And then there were the mysterious notes.
Marie would force a smile, but inside she felt a growing sense of unease. The whispers and laughter around her grew louder.
"You've got him wrapped around your little finger," Sarah would say, nudging Marie with her elbow, followed by a burst of laughter.
It's all so overwhelming. Essays, recommendations, financial aid forms. I feel like I need a degree just to apply.
It's a lot for sure. But you're smart, Marie. And you've got a good head on your shoulders. You'll figure it out. Remember, I'm here to help you every step of the way.
Around Ryan, I felt seen, understood in a way I never had before. One afternoon, while scrolling through social media, I stumbled upon a photo of Ryan and Emily, their arms wrapped around each other, smiles plastered on their faces. The more I thought about it, the more convinced I became that Ryan needed rescuing. But then, a wicked thought wormed its way into my mind. What if I didn't have to let Dawn down at all? Oh, Ryan, I just don't know what to do about Jake. Things feel so unfulfilling.
"Marie, I got you this necklace. I hope you like it."
Oh no, what have I done?
Hey, study buddy, I brought you your usual caramel macchiato extra shot.
The silence that followed was deafening. Marie could feel her cheeks burning under the weight of their gazes. She had to say something, anything to break the tension. It was Ryan who finally spoke, his voice laced with amusement.
Looks like we had the same idea. You must be Marie's famous burger aficionado.
Dawn, caught off guard by Ryan's friendly demeanor, managed a weak smile. He pulled up a chair next to Marie, his movements casual.
So tell me about this burger of yours. What makes it so special?
And just like that, the tension dissipated. She watched as Ryan and Dawn continued to talk, their initial awkwardness replaced by an easy camaraderie.
I felt a growing unease settling over me like a shroud. The encounter at the college had been a wake-up call, a stark reminder of the tangled web I had woven. I had envisioned a dramatic showdown, a jealous clash between Dawn and Ryan for my affections. Instead, they had effortlessly connected, their shared love for a simple cheeseburger bridging the gap between manager and cashier.
Guilt gnawed at Marie's conscience. She was leading both Dawn and Ryan on, playing a dangerous game with their hearts. Dawn, oblivious to her true feelings, continued to shower her with affection, each gift a painful reminder of her deception. She dreaded the thought of hurting him, of seeing the light in his eyes dim when he finally realized the truth.
Ryan, on the other hand, remained a frustrating enigma. He was friendly, even flirtatious at times, but never crossed the line. I craved his attention, his touch, yet feared the moment he might see through my carefully constructed facade. The weight of my lies pressed down on me, threatening to crush my spirit.
Sleep offered little respite. Her dreams were haunted by images of Dawn's heartbroken face, Ryan's disappointed gaze, and a giant cheeseburger that morphed into a monstrous symbol of her deceit. She woke each morning with a sense of dread, the day stretching before her like a minefield of potential confrontations and awkward encounters. Despite her growing unease, Marie couldn't bring herself to break things off with either Dawn or Ryan. She clung to their affections like a lifeline, each stolen glance, each fleeting touch a temporary reprieve from the suffocating guilt. It was a dangerous addiction, feeding her ego while slowly poisoning her soul.
Marie, I got you something special. A heart-shaped locket with our initials engraved on the back. A weekend getaway to a charming bed and breakfast nestled in the mountains. And a hand-knitted scarf that smells faintly of my cologne.
Each gift, though appreciated, felt like a betrayal, a tangible reminder of her duplicity. Ryan, meanwhile, maintained a frustrating distance. He was friendly, engaging in light-hearted banter during their shifts, offering a listening ear when she confided in him about her college applications or a particularly trying customer.
I craved his touch, the warmth of his hand brushing against mine, the way his eyes seemed to see right through my facade. But those moments were fleeting, stolen glances across the crowded restaurant floor, a brief touch when our hands brushed while reaching for the same order slip.
Marie was starving, not for food, but for Ryan's attention, for a sign, any sign, that her feelings were reciprocated. She devoured the crumbs of affection he offered, knowing deep down that it wasn't enough. She was addicted to the chase, the thrill of the forbidden, even as it threatened to consume her. Marie's 18th birthday was fast approaching. Dawn, ever the romantic, was planning a surprise party for her, enlisting Sarah and their other co-workers in his elaborate scheme. He'd confided in Marie's roommate, sneaking into their apartment to decorate while she was at class, leaving Marie feeling more trapped than ever.
I dreaded the thought of the party, of having to pretend to be surprised, of accepting Dawn's lavish gifts and heartfelt declarations of affection while my heart ached for another. I considered telling him the truth, but the thought of hurting him, of seeing the pain in his eyes, was unbearable.
The day of the party arrived, a Saturday afternoon filled with forced smiles and awkward encounters. Dawn had gone all out, renting out a private room at a local bowling alley, complete with streamers, balloons, and a cake shaped like a giant cheeseburger, a touch Marie found endearing despite herself.
As I watched Dawn interact with our friends, his face glowing with happiness, a wave of guilt washed over me. He deserved better than to be someone's backup plan, a pawn in my twisted game. I had to tell him the truth, even if it meant breaking his heart.
Gathering her courage, she pulled Dawn aside, leading him to a quiet corner of the bowling alley.
Dawn, there's something I need to tell you.
Before she could utter another word, the door to the private room swung open, revealing Ryan, a sheepish smile on his face.
Hey everyone, sorry I'm late. Happy birthday, Marie.
He held out a small, beautifully wrapped gift box, his eyes holding hers for a beat too long. Marie's heart skipped a beat, her carefully rehearsed speech forgotten. The moment hung heavy with unspoken tension, the air thick with the scent of pizza, bowling shoes, and unrequited love. The unexpected arrival of Ryan at Marie's birthday party sent shockwaves through the room. Dawn, his face falling slightly at the interruption, quickly recovered, his usual cheerfulness masking any hurt he might have felt. The other co-workers, however, were not so easily fooled.
Hey everyone, look who's here.
Whispers erupted like wildfire, spreading through the room faster than a grease fire in the McDonald's kitchen. Ryan, oblivious to the speculation swirling around him, greeted everyone with easy charm, his presence casting a long shadow over the festivities.
Oh, hi Ryan.
Sarah, never one to shy away from gossip, sidled up to Marie, her eyes sparkling with mischief.
Well, well, well. Look who decided to grace us with his presence. Didn't know you were so close to the boss, Marie.
Marie, her cheeks burning with shame, mumbled a vague response, her gaze darting nervously between Ryan and Dawn. She could feel their eyes on her, their gazes heavy with unspoken questions and growing suspicions.
Yeah, he's just, a friend.
The party continued, but the atmosphere had shifted, the air thick with tension and unspoken truths. Marie felt like a fraud, her carefully constructed facade crumbling around her. She tried to focus on Dawn, on his efforts to salvage the celebration, but her thoughts kept drifting back to Ryan, to the way his eyes seemed to follow her every move.
Come on, let's keep this party going.
As the night wore on, the whispers intensified, fueled by too many tequila shots and a healthy dose of teenage drama. Marie could feel the walls closing in, the weight of her deceit crushing her spirit. She had to escape to find a moment of solitude amidst the chaos. Excusing herself from the boisterous crowd, Marie slipped out of the bowling alley, the cool night air a welcome relief from the stifling atmosphere inside. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart, her mind a jumbled mess of guilt, confusion, and a lingering hope that maybe, just maybe, Ryan felt something for her too. As she stood there, gathering her thoughts, she heard footsteps approaching. She braced herself for a confrontation, for Dawn's heartbroken accusations or Sarah's knowing smirk. Instead, she found herself face to face with Ryan, his expression unreadable in the dim light.
Hey, you okay? You seem a little overwhelmed?
Marie, caught off guard by his concern, simply nodded, unable to articulate the turmoil raging within her. Ryan, sensing her hesitation, surprised her by taking her hand, his touch sending a jolt of electricity through her.
Come on, let's get out of here. My treat.
Before Marie could protest, Dawn emerged from the bowling alley, his face etched with concern.
Marie, is everything all right? What's going on?
Ryan, his hand still clasped around Marie's, turned to face Dawn, his expression softening.
She just needed some air. We're going to grab some food. Want to come?
The invitation hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. Marie held her breath, her heart pounding in her chest as she waited for Dawn's response. This was it, the moment of truth. The tangled web she had woven was about to unravel, and she could only hope that the fallout wouldn't destroy everything in its path. The air hung thick with tension as Dawn hesitated, his eyes darting between Marie and Ryan. Marie held her breath, her stomach twisting into knots. She had hoped for a grand gesture, a romantic confession that would magically resolve the situation. Now, faced with the prospect of a simple dinner, the weight of her lies pressed down on her with suffocating force.
Dawn
stammered, his usual confidence shaken. He glanced at their intertwined hands, his expression a mixture of confusion and hurt. Ryan, oblivious to the silent exchange, squeezed Marie's hand reassuringly.
Come on, Dawn, my treat. Best pizza in town.
Marie wanted to disappear, to melt into the asphalt and seep into the cracks of the parking lot. She had envisioned 1,000 different scenarios, each more dramatic than the last. Yet here she was, caught in the mundane reality of a pizza run, the weight of her deceptions heavier than any confession. To her surprise, Dawn nodded, a flicker of his usual cheerfulness returning to his eyes.
Sure, why not? I could eat.
He attempted a smile, although it didn't quite reach his eyes. As they piled into Ryan's car, a sleek black sedan that screamed responsible adult, Marie couldn't shake the feeling that this seemingly innocent dinner was the calm before the storm. The pizza place was bustling, filled with the comforting aromas of baking dough and melting cheese. Families huddled around checkered tables, their laughter a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside Marie. She sat between Ryan and Dawn, her appetite replaced by a growing sense of dread.
So, there was this one customer who demanded we remake his burger 3 times because he swore the pickles were different sizes.
Ryan, oblivious to the tension, launched into a lively anecdote about a particularly demanding customer at the restaurant. Dawn, bless his heart, chuckled along, his earlier awkwardness replaced by a forced cheerfulness that tugged at Marie's conscience. As they ate, Marie found herself caught in a bizarre game of emotional tug-of-war. Ryan's charm drew her in, but Dawn's quiet sadness tore at her heart. She wanted to confess, but the words wouldn't come. Fear, shame, and a sliver of selfish hope kept her silent. The pizza, once a symbol of comfort, sat heavy in her stomach, a reminder of her deceit. Marie's head snapped up, her eyes wide with surprise. Ryan had remembered a detail she had shared with him during one of their late-night closing shifts. She opened her mouth to respond, but Dawn continued, his voice gaining strength.
That's amazing, Marie. You've always been such a great storyteller. Remember that time you convinced everyone at work that you met Justin Bieber at the mall?
A wave of shame washed over Marie. It had been a harmless lie, a silly attempt to impress her coworkers, but in light of her current predicament, it felt like a betrayal of Dawn's trust. Before she could spiral further into self-recrimination, Ryan spoke, his voice laced with amusement.
Oh, you've got to hear this story. It's classic Marie.
And just like that, the tension broke. Ryan had steered the conversation away from the precipice, replacing suspicion with shared laughter. As they reminisced about Marie's past antics, her lies momentarily forgotten, she couldn't help but feel a surge of gratitude towards Ryan, even as it fueled her guilt. Over the next hour, a strange camaraderie blossomed between Ryan and Dawn. They swapped stories about work, their shared experiences at McDonald's forming an unlikely bond.
You know, I once thought about becoming a chef. There's something magical about creating the perfect dish.
Ryan, it turned out, had once harbored dreams of becoming a chef, his passion for food evident in the way he spoke about pizza toppings and secret sauce recipes.
Really? That's awesome! What's your secret to a perfect pizza?
Dawn, eager to impress, peppered him with questions about his culinary aspirations, his earlier awkwardness replaced by genuine enthusiasm. Marie, meanwhile, felt increasingly invisible. Her carefully constructed love triangle had imploded, leaving her on the sidelines, a spectator to a friendship she had inadvertently orchestrated. She watched as Ryan and Dawn exchanged numbers, promising to hang out outside of work, a pang of loneliness mixing with the ever-present guilt. As they left the pizza place, the air thick with the scent of garlic and oregano, Marie couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted. The atmosphere, once charged with romantic tension, now hummed with a different kind of energy. The easy camaraderie of newfound friendship.
See you at work, Marie.
Ryan, ever the gentleman, offered to drive Dawn home, his gaze lingering on Marie for a beat too long before he turned away. As she watched them drive away, the red taillights disappearing into the night, Marie felt a strange mix of relief and regret. Relief that the charade was over, that the truth, however indirectly, had been revealed. Regret that she had hurt two people she cared about, that her own selfish desires had led to this unexpected outcome. The next few days were a blur of awkward encounters and furtive glances. Dawn, to his credit, acted like nothing had changed, his usual cheerfulness masking any lingering hurt. He still brought her coffee during her shifts, still greeted her with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Ryan, however, was a different story. He was polite, professional but distant. The easy banter they once shared had evaporated, replaced by a strained formality that made Marie's heart ache. She had caught him looking at her a few times, his expression unreadable, and each time she had wanted to disappear.
So here you've been ghosted.
What are you talking about?
Oh, please, don't play dumb. Both of them? Blocked on social media, no calls, no texts. You've achieved the impossible, Marie. You managed to get dumped by the same guy twice.
Marie's cheeks burned with shame. She had known it was coming, had dreaded this moment since that fateful night at the pizza place. But knowing and experiencing were two different things. The rejection, the humiliation, the realization that she had brought this upon herself was almost unbearable. Alone in her room, the weight of her actions finally crashing down upon her, Marie allowed herself to crumble. Tears streamed down her face, hot and heavy with regret. She'd been selfish, reckless, blinded by her own desires. She had hurt Dawn and pushed away Ryan. Determination replaced self-pity. She couldn't undo the past, but could learn from it.
I need to apologize. I owe them that much.
She sent heartfelt apologies to Dawn and Ryan, taking full responsibility. She didn't expect forgiveness, but owed them an explanation. To her surprise, Dawn responded kindly. He thanked her, but made it clear he was moving on. Marie knew he was right. Ryan never responded. The experience was a wake-up call. Marie realized love was a gift to be cherished. She vowed to emerge stronger, wiser, and more deserving, a version worthy of love, both given and received. Marie felt a familiar pang of guilt as she walked into McDonald's, the smell of frying oil and anticipation hanging in the air. It had been weeks since the disastrous birthday party. She'd expected awkwardness, whispers, maybe even outright hostility. Instead, she found something unexpected: indifference. Dawn, looking effortlessly charming, greeted her with a polite nod. He seemed lighter, Marie realized. The weight of unrequited affection seemed to have lifted from his shoulders.
He's happier.
During a chaotic lunch rush, Marie witnessed something that shifted her perspective. Ryan, ever the capable manager, had jumped in to help, and standing beside him, laughing, was Dawn. They worked side by side, a well-oiled machine of efficiency and camaraderie. There were no lingering glances, only the easy banter of two people who genuinely enjoyed each other's company.
I've been so blind.
Marie watched them, a strange mix of emotions swirling within her. Sadness, yes, for what she had lost, but also a glimmer of hope. She had been so caught up in her own desires, her own need for validation, that she had failed to see the potential for a different kind of connection. The realization hit her like a splash of cold water. She had been so focused on winning the prize, Ryan's heart, that she had overlooked the genuine connection she shared with Dawn. He had been there all along, offering his friendship, his support, his unwavering affection, and she, blinded by her own immaturity, had thrown it all away. Life at McDonald's continued, the rhythm of burgers and fries a comforting constant. Marie focused on her work, her studies, on rebuilding the bridges she had burned. She made a conscious effort to be a better friend to Sarah and her co-workers. She still saw Ryan every day, his presence a reminder of her mistakes. They were civil, but the spark was gone. She knew she had to let him go.
I need to move on too.
One evening, Marie found a sunflower in her locker, a note attached. "You're doing great." A wave of warmth washed over her, chasing away regret. Dawn had found a way to offer his friendship once more. Love isn't about grand gestures, it's about small moments, shared laughter and understanding. As she walked out of McDonald's, she knew she was ready for chapter 2.